Congratulations! You've managed to create life in a jar and keep it alive for an entire week. And now, it's finally time to put it to use and bake some bread. So, here's what you're going to need to follow along with this simple, yet always delicious sourdough bread recipe. Ingredients: flour, either wheat or rye. Water or milk. Milk is optional, but feel free to use it in combination or in place of water entirely. Your lively sourdough starter, salt, melted butter or coconut oil, and some honey. Equipment: 1 large mixing bowl, a stirring tool of choice, a breathable cloth to cover your bowl for fermentation, a 1 cup measuring scoop for flour, a 1/2 cup measuring scoop for your starter, a measuring cup for your liquids, a 1 teaspoon measuring spoon for salt, a 1 tablespoon measuring spoon for your chosen fat, and a food thermometer is rather handy if you have one. Oh yes, and of course, you're gonna need an oven and a baking pan to make your bread. I also recommend using some baking paper to line your pan just to make it easier to remove the final bread. If you don't have this, just be sure to coat your pan with butter or some oil before baking to keep your bread from sticking upon removal. So, got everything that you need? Good, as the last unique consideration to address here is yet again, time. As once this dough is mixed, it's gonna need to sit for about roughly 12 to 14 hours before baking, allowing that starter of yours to ferment with the rest of the ingredients to finalize the sourdoughing process, essentially just making it more nutritious and delicious, which is the whole point of your effort so far, isn't it? Now keep in mind that the longer that you ferment your dough, typically the more breakdown occurs within the nutrients within the dough, making it more easily digestible for your body, and as an added bonus allows for better flavor and rise in the end. And keep in mind that a cooler environment will slow fermentation compared to a warmer one. So if your kitchen is warm, 8 hours of time may just be plenty. But if your kitchen's rather cold, maybe stick it out for the full 12 hours or slightly longer. Now, with all that prep out of the way, it's time to make some bread. Step 1. Making the sourdough. Grab your bowl and add in 3.5 cups of flour, either wheat or rye. Next, add 1/2 cup of your sourdough starter, then 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of melted butter or coconut oil, 2 tablespoons of honey, and finish it all off by adding in either water or milk as the liquid. Now I recommend starting with 1 1/3 cups of water or milk. Mix away until all the ingredients are combined well and your flour is hydrated. In the end, the consistency you're looking for is what you see here. If your dough is somehow more dry at this point, feel free to add in some additional liquid until you reach a similar consistency. But hey, go slow here, as soup is supposed to be a side dish to a good piece of bread, not the bread itself. And once your dough is all mixed, simply cover it up with a breathable cloth and leave it on the counter to rise and ferment for, again, 8 to 12 hours before baking. Throughout the following 8 to 12 hours, I've been lazy and just literally let my dough sit on the counter until baking. However, I've been told that to help the bread rise better and develop more flavor, you should quickly just grab a large stirring device and fold the dough over 4 to 5 times like so, every 2 to 3 hours. However, as mentioned, if you're lazy like me, or you just have to leave the house, your bread will still turn out mighty tasty. Well, at least mine has if you just leave it on the counter. Step 2. Baking the sourdough. I hope your oven's preheated, as it's finally time to get this long-awaited bread in the oven. Begin by preheating your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. While waiting, remove your cloth to reveal your mighty sourdough in its peak state and begin to transfer your dough into your baking pan. And as mentioned, you can either line this baking pan with baking paper or just coat it with your grease of choice, such as butter or coconut oil. Once your dough is transferred, let it sit until your oven is preheated, and then just pop it into the oven to bake for roughly 25 to 30 minutes. To ensure that it's done, just grab a food thermometer and check the internal temperature of the bread. Once it reaches 200 degrees Fahrenheit or 93 degrees Celsius, your bread is ready to be removed and placed to cool before slicing up and spreading on some butter to taste the rewards of all your efforts until this extraordinary moment. And there you have it. You are now not only an accomplished home fermentation wizard who is capable of turning flour and water into an amazing sourdough, but the proud owner of a healthy and lively starter that can be used time and time again to experiment with more recipes or to simply repeat this basic bread recipe covered in this video. Now, I'd like to thank you for spending the time with me so far to learn all about my simple method of making sourdough bread at home from start to finish. For more fermentation guides, gut-healthy nutrition tips, and more tasty ways to use your sourdough starter in the future, I recommend that you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and at this point, leave me a comment below to let me know how you enjoyed your first slice of bread. Thanks for watching, and all the best to you and your future health and happiness. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.